Once upon a time, in the small Igbo village of Obameri, there lived a girl named Ngozi. She was just 11 years old. Her eyes were sharp like blade, and her mouth was louder than a talking drum. Everyone in the village knew Ngozi, the girl who ran like the wind, climbed trees like a boy, and fought anybody that called her names. Ngozi lived with her mother, Mama Ngozi, in a one-room mud house near the village stream. Her father had died when she was 7. People said he fell sick and died after a long fever, but some villagers whispered something else. That woman, she killed him. At first, Ngozi did not believe them, but the whispers never stopped. And one day, she started listening. It started with a boy named Okafor. He was the chief's son and always looking for trouble. He shouted in the village square, "Your mama is a witch. My papa said she poisoned your papa with a yam porridge." Ngozi ran home in tears. That evening, she watched her mother pound yam like nothing was wrong, and she asked, "Mama, did you kill Papa?" Her mother froze. The pistol dropped from her hand. She didn't say anything. That silence burned deep inside Ngozi. From that day, something changed in the girl. She stopped eating her mother's food. She told her friends, "I think my mama killed me." The whole village heard, and that's when the real problem began. The elders called Mama Ngozi to the shrine. She stood there in her faded wrapper, holding her head high. "Did you kill your husband?" they asked. "I did not," she said calmly. Ngozi was asked to speak. She stood in front of the whole village and said, "I saw her. He put something in this food the night he fell sick. I was small, but I remember now. She is a witch." Gasps, murmurs, the village exploded. Mama Ngozi didn't argue. She just looked at her daughter and said, "So this is how my own child will finish me." They banished her from the village that very night. They dragged her out, tied her hands with palm fronds, and sent her into the bush with only a wrapper and a bag of gari. Ngozi watched her go, but instead of crying, she said, "Good, let her go and suffer." Her uncle, Zako, came and took her in. He was a rich man who lived in a compound with 3 wives and so many children. At first, it was fun. She had new clothes, soft beds, and meat in her soup. But after 2 moons, things changed. She started noticing how one of the wives, Auntie Chinelo, would send her on errands while her own children played. She wasn't allowed to eat from the main pot anymore. They gave her leftover soup and hard gari. One night, she overheard Auntie Chinelo say, "Now that her mother is gone, who is there to fight for her?" Ngozi's chest tightened. She began to miss her mother. Her shouting, her smelly firewood kitchen, her warm hands on her forehead during fever. The guilt started to choke her. And then came the night she heard her uncle and Auntie Chinelo talking. "I'm tired of this girl," Auntie Chinelo said. "She knows too much. If she opens her mouth, we are finished." Ngozi didn't sleep that night. The next day, she ran. She didn't stop until she reached the edge of the forest. Her legs were shaking and her stomach was empty. But she kept walking. She followed the path her mother took when they sent her away. She asked farmers, hunters, and market women, "Did you see a woman, slim, dark, with a scarf on her hand?" After 2 days, a hunter said, "Yes, she lives near the old cocoa trees, alone." Ngozi walked for hours. When she reached the hut, she stood outside and shouted, "Mama!" The door opened. Mama Ngozi stood there, her eyes full of surprise. "Ngozi?" The girl dropped to her knees. "Mama, I'm so sorry. I lied. I didn't see you poison Papa. I just wanted someone to blame." Her mother sat down slowly. "You nearly killed me, Ngozi. You took my name and threw it in the mud." Ngozi cried. "I know, but I'm here now. I want to fix it." Mama Ngozi gave her water, food, and a mat to sleep on. But for many days, she didn't speak much. Then one day she said, "If you want to fix what you broke, go back and speak the truth, loudly, the same way you lied." Ngozi returned to the village. She went to the elders. She knelt in front of the chief and said, "I lied. I didn't see my mother poison my father. I said it because I was angry. I let the village send her away for something she didn't do." The chief looked at her. "Why should we believe you now?" "Because now I have nothing to gain. I only want to make it right," Ngozi said. There was silence, then murmurs. Then one old woman stood and said, "Ifeoma is innocent. I knew it." The elders agreed. "Bring her back. Let her return in peace." Ngozi ran back to the forest. "Mama, they want you back. They know the truth now." Mama Ngozi didn't smile. "Let them come and carry me the same way they sent me out." And they did. The next day, the whole village came with drums, kola nuts, palm wine, and goats. They begged her to return. They washed her feet at the village gate. She walked back in, head high, and Ngozi walked behind her, carrying her mother's bag like a servant. Life was not perfect after that, but it was honest. Ngozi never raised her voice again unless it was the truth. She learned that lessons, the lies, are louder than thunder, but the truth lasts longer than the harmattan burst. And whenever someone asked her about her mother and if her mother was a witch, she would say, "No, but she is stronger than one." And when the children gathered around her to ask for a story, she would tell them what happened, and that they would never ever throw a stone at someone they didn't understand. Because words once spoken can become sharp spears that wound the people we love. That's the end of our story. I hope you enjoyed this amazing story. Please like and share your comments below it in the comment section. See you in our next story. Thank you. Bye.